Walsh here from Thin Line Defense, and today I'm going to bring you a review of the Area 419 Hellfire muzzle brake. Now before we get to that, like I always do, I want to say thanks to our Patreon supporters. You're the ones that make these reviews possible, and so big thanks to supporting the channel. I also want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. I really love interacting with you. So many people get so mad, and I have to say I really do love reading those comments and reacting to you. Just get at it though, I want to hear more of it. So why are we reviewing the Area 419 muzzle brake? And this is an interesting question because the Area 419 is kind of known as the industry standard or one of the best muzzle brakes out there. So part of why I want to talk about it is I had previously used a VG6 PRS-65 and I really enjoyed that muzzle brake. And I was out at my first day shooting, and I was with a new shooter I had just met who actually follows the channel. He's super awesome. And he was like, hey, you should try an Area 419. It's so much better. And the hard part with this is, especially with YouTube videos, you're talking about how something feels with words, and it's hard to kind of capture how that works. So, you say to someone, oh yeah, it feels like so much less recoil. Well, what does that mean? So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna use the Mantis X and record the actual recoil coming through the rifle using the VG6, using no muzzle brake, and then using the Area 419 Hellfire. Full disclosure, before you get much further, the Area 419 is absolutely fantastic. I love it. And I'm going to show you why. Let's go. Oh! Let me show you what actually comes in the box first, and then we'll go out to the range. So here we are, we got our Area 419 Hellfire muzzle brake here. So let's take a look inside the box and see what we got here. Oh, so we're starting here with a pretty sweet Area 419 sticker. We always need some more stickers. We have the actual box in here, so let's take a look at what exactly comes with it. So on the side of the box you can see the specific size we got for our Tikka T3X TAC A1, getting the 5x8x24 in the 6.5 Creed one. So let's see what else is in here. Alright. So we have the instructions here. This is probably going to show us how to install it. I've seen some other reviews online. It doesn't seem all that difficult. So yeah, as we look here, we just really install the adapter, and then we thread the time and brake on. It kind of shows you the instructions on how to do that. The instructions are really straightforward. It's really easy to install and remove this device, so pretty awesome. Alright, what do we got? Oh, looks like we have yet another sticker. Is this different from the other one? Let's take a look here. I think nope, they are exactly the same. Alright, so we got two of them. Alright, two to go. But inside here we have the little foam cover, and then we have the actual insert. So the insert is what gets installed first into the rifle, and then the actual muzzle brake gets threaded on top of that. So you just use a little bit of Loctite, and then you can lock this in place. Don't go crazy torquing it down, you just need a very little bit of Loctite. Alright, so let's see the next bit. So now we have the actual Area 419 Hellfire muzzle brake here. It looks absolutely beautiful. Fit and finish is nice. I like the way it's ported. It's really pretty cool. I can't wait to see how this actually translates. Alright, so let's go try this thing out. I'm excited. Just a quick word too on installation. Super easy. You go ahead and use a little bit of blue Loctite, and you put the insert into the barrel, and then you actually put the muzzle device over it, and you begin to tighten it until you can't really tighten it anymore. And then you can just pop the front of the muzzle device and then continue tightening it the rest of the way. To loosen it, then it becomes super easy. You don't need any tools, so it makes it a little bit better than the VG6. What you would normally do where you would tighten now loosens the muzzle device, right? So you're actually going to break it twice. So the first one is to break it where it's initially set, and then you're going to keep turning it, and then you're going to break where it's seated inside the insert, and then it'll just come right off. You can install and remove this in like 60 seconds, so it makes it awesome. So for the first one, let's take a look at the VG6 PRS-65. For the sake of brevity, I've cut down the time between each shots on all this footage, so don't think I'm just sitting there just ripping these shots off. You'll also be able to see the recoilometer on as we're shooting, so you can actually see how the gun is recoiling, and then we can take a look at that afterwards. Full disclosure, I have no idea if this is going to show us anything, but let's see what we can learn. So I think one of the most surprising things with the VG6 is the consistency. It had pretty much the same climb and recoil for every single shot, minus a very small deviation. So interesting. Let's see how that works with all the other data. Let's do the no brake now. So let's see how that goes.
Paper. What about the black guy? Yeah, laying down.
Should be where it's sitting there.
Right, hell out of the tripod.
Kick her in the teeth.
Forward action stuff.
So one thing that's super interesting about the no brake is that there's actually very little recoil, and I think that's because the majority of the force is just slamming immediately backwards. It really didn't feel comfortable going from the VG6 going to no brake. I know it's just some first world problems, but I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to shoot without a brake all the time. It's not my favorite, having shot only with the muzzle brake. So there's definitely a lot more force. I found myself consciously trying to brace for the shot and throwing way more shots off because the actual force of the shot was making me overthink it. So that's a data point for having no brake. Obviously you could shoot without a brake, not a big difference, but we're measuring some muzzle brakes. So now let's look at the Area 419 muzzle brake and see what the recoil pattern is for that one.
White ram.
Yeah, the table does got a little wobble.
Yeah. It's right on. There was one hole ready.
So full disclosure, as soon as I put the Area 419 muzzle brake on, my accuracy went down the toilet. And I was worried because, you know, looked like some pretty good results on the Mantis, but then the more I looked at it, the more erratic it was. So I actually went out for a second range trip to validate the data. And so here's what you can see for the recoil pattern from that trip, which is a little more successful. I'm not sure if the Loctite had been set at that point for the insert. Maybe. You make a judgment. Here we go.
99.
So I do have to say that I think after doing all that, we've learned that the Mantis X recoilometer doesn't really tell us a whole lot when it comes to measuring the recoil and the actual impact from the gun. I will say that it's interesting because the Area 419 is the least consistent, but it also translates into the most accuracy. So I will say it doesn't really matter. I was shooting like half MOA groups during that last session. So I went ahead and took some of the video and ran them side by side so you can actually see the recoil impulse of the different muzzle brakes going from the VG6 to no brake to the Area 419. So I'll run those standard and then we'll run them a little bit slower so you can see, and then you can make your own determination as to which muzzle device you want to get. Get the 419.
It's right on.
So I hope today's review of the Area 419 Hellfire muzzle brake was useful. I hope you learned a little bit about the reduction in the recoil impulse that is definitely there, and you can see in the slow motion footage, and the ease of use in installing and removing it. I do really love this self-timing. But I also want to pitch out there that that VG6 muzzle brake is phenomenal. You can find that muzzle brake a little bit cheaper, usually about $80 if you catch it on sale. If you watch for it, you can get a good deal on it. For what it is, it's fantastic. I do recommend that you save a little bit and get the Area 419 Hellfire, because it's just that little bit of a step up that I think is worth your money. But you ultimately make that choice, and I hope you've gotten some more information and data points to help you make that decision on which muzzle device is perfect for you. As always though, I want to say thanks to our Patreon supporters. They make these reviews possible. And always like, comment, subscribe. Let's hear you get angry down in the comments. All right, have a good one. Out.